Hello everyone, friends, Liuba here with you. Today we will prepare very delicious pastries inspired by my competition recipe that I presented in the final of the professional pastry contest this year. It is warm in mood, yet with refreshing accents. Layer by layer, its multifaceted character reveals itself. Tender hazelnut and orange sponge cake, a crunchy layer, vibrant cranberry and raspberry confit, rich hazelnut mousse, whipped cranberry ganache and cranberry gel. We will begin with the sponge cake. We will need a blend of almond and hazelnut flours. I am using flour made from roasted hazelnuts. It gives a bright flavor and aroma. We will also need eggs, sugar, wheat flour, melted butter, orange zest, and baking powder. First, we mix all the dry ingredients, nut flour, wheat flour, and baking powder. We add the orange zest to the melted butter and mix well. We add the sugar to the eggs and whip thoroughly. Gradually, the sugar dissolves. The mixture increases in volume and becomes pale, fluffy, and airy. The whisk begins to leave a trail, and the pattern that appears on the surface holds for a while. I transfer the egg mixture into a smaller bowl. It is more convenient. We add the dry ingredients and gently fold them in with a spatula, but only until everything is evenly moistened. We do not mix for a long time so that we preserve the airy texture. We add a small amount of batter, about 2 tablespoons, to the melted butter with the zest. We mix well until uniform. This will help the butter distribute evenly and keep it from sinking to the bottom. Then we return this mixture to the main batter and gently fold it in with a spatula until combined. This is what the batter will look like. We immediately pour the batter onto a baking sheet lined with parchment paper and place it in the preheated oven. We bake at 175 degrees for about 12 minutes, keeping an eye on the appearance. The sponge cake should brown slightly, not too much, so that it remains soft and does not dry out. Its surface will become springy and elastic when gently pressed, and a skewer inserted into the center will come out dry. We remove the sponge cake from the baking sheet, separate it from the paper, and allow it to cool completely. It is better to wrap it in plastic wrap and place it in the refrigerator. After chilling, it will become firmer and will slice more easily. We cut the sponge cake with the frame in which we will assemble the pastries and leave it inside. I will indicate the size of the frame in the description below the video. Look at the amazing texture of the sponge cake. It is dense yet delicate, very fragrant and delicious. Let us prepare the crunchy layer. It adds a textural accent to the pastry. We will need white chocolate, caramelized wafer, hazelnut paste or praline, and a bit of freeze-dried raspberries for a bright flavor. We melt the white chocolate and mix it with the hazelnut praline until fully combined. In another bowl, we combine the caramelized wafer and the freeze-dried raspberries. We add the chocolate nut mixture and mix thoroughly so that each wafer is coated with chocolate. The crunchy layer is ready. We apply the mixture to the sponge cake and spread it in an even layer over the entire surface. We place the assembled base in the freezer until it is completely frozen. Let us prepare a bright and aromatic cranberry-raspberry layer. We will need cranberry puree, a little raspberry puree, freshly squeezed orange juice, sugar, I mixed it beforehand with cornstarch and ground cinnamon, gelatin that has been soaked in advance, and a bit of lemon juice. In a saucepan, we combine everything except the gelatin and the lemon juice, that is, both purees and the orange juice. We add the sugar with cornstarch in a thin stream, whisking constantly so that there are no lumps. We place the saucepan on the stove and, whisking constantly, bring the mixture to a boil. After it comes to a boil, we cook it for 1 to 2 minutes. The mixture will thicken and return to its vibrant color. We remove the saucepan from the heat. Into the hot mixture, we add the bloomed gelatin and stir until it is completely dissolved. At the end, we add the lemon juice and mix well once again. We let the mixture cool slightly until it is warm. While it is cooling, we stir it periodically because the mixture begins to set. When it thickens a little, we pour it over the frozen crunchy layer and spread it evenly. We place it in the freezer. Let us prepare a rich hazelnut mousse. We will need milk, gelatin that has been soaked in advance, whipping cream with a fat content of 33%, egg yolks, sugar, and the main highlight, hazelnut paste. As always, we begin the mousse preparation by whipping the cream. We chill the cream thoroughly beforehand, and we can also chill the mixing bowl and the whisk. We whip, gradually increasing the speed until it thickens slightly, the volume rises noticeably. The mass becomes airy with uniform bubbles, slightly fluid with no peaks. The whisk's trail remains on the surface for a couple of seconds and then disappears. The consistency is like slightly melted ice cream. This is how the half-whipped cream should look. We immediately place it in the refrigerator until use. We add half of the sugar to the yolks and whisk well. We pour the milk into the saucepan, add the remaining sugar, and place it on the stove. We heat it until the sugar dissolves and steam appears. The milk is hot but not boiling. We pour the hot milk in a thin stream into the yolks, whisking constantly. The sugar in the yolks must dissolve completely. We return the mixture to the saucepan and cook over low heat until it thickens slightly to a temperature of 82 degrees. I use an immersion thermometer, but I always watch the consistency. The mixture becomes thicker. As soon as the temperature gets close to the right point, I remove the saucepan from the stove and finish the mixture off the heat. It continues to warm from the hot walls of the saucepan. If the cream is overheated even slightly, it can curdle instantly. Into the hot cream, without delay, we add the bloomed gelatin and stir thoroughly until it dissolves completely. We pour the cream into a tall glass, add the hazelnut paste, and emulsify thoroughly with an immersion blender. We obtain a smooth, beautiful, very fragrant mixture. We combine the cream with the half-whipped cream, but first we must cool the cream to between 26 and 28 degrees. This is important. I add the cooled mixture into the cream. You can cool it in the refrigerator, stirring occasionally. You can place the glass in a vessel filled with cold water, or you can pour the cream into a shallow dish so that it cools more quickly. We add the cream to the cold whipping cream while stirring constantly with a spatula and gently combine until a uniform smooth mousse forms. This is the beautiful and fragrant mousse we obtain. The mousse has already begun to set, so we immediately pour it onto the frozen berry confit, spread it evenly, and place it in the freezer until the next day. While the base is freezing, we will prepare the gel and the whipped ganache. For the gel, we will need cranberry puree mixed with raspberry puree, agar-agar, and sugar. We add 1/2 of the sugar to the puree, and we mix the other half with the agar-agar. We heat the puree in a saucepan until it is warm so that the sugar begins to dissolve. We pour in the sugar and agar-agar mixture in a thin stream, whisking constantly. We bring the mixture to a boil and boil for 1 minute so that the agar-agar fully activates. We remove it from the heat, pour it into a container, cover it with plastic wrap, and chill until fully set, several hours in the refrigerator. After stabilization, the mass is this dense. We need to turn it into a delicate, uniform gel. We process it with an immersion blender. At first, the texture will be loose and very thick. We add water literally drop by drop and continue working with the blender until the gel becomes homogeneous and thick, yet pliable. This is how it looks. We transfer it to a pastry bag. We will prepare a whipped cranberry ganache. We will need a mixture of cranberry and raspberry puree, white chocolate, glucose syrup, bloomed gelatin, and 33% cream. We melt the white chocolate immediately in a tall glass so that it is convenient to use the immersion blender afterward. We place the puree, glucose syrup, and bloomed gelatin into a saucepan. We heat it to about 60 degrees. The gelatin should dissolve completely. We pour the hot puree onto the melted chocolate and emulsify with an immersion blender until the mixture is completely smooth. Without stopping the blender, we pour in the cream in a thin stream and continue emulsifying until completely homogeneous. We pour the ganache in a thin layer into a shallow container. Cover it with plastic wrap pressed directly onto the surface. and place it in the refrigerator to stabilize for 10 to 12 hours. It is convenient to do this on the same day that we assembled the pastries. After stabilization, the ganache has thickened like this. Now it needs to be whipped, but we do this only right before using it since whipped ganache is not stored. We whip until the first traces from the whisk appear. The mass will become airy and pliable. It will hold its shape while remaining delicate. We do not whip to firm peaks, otherwise the ganache can turn grainy and lose its tender texture. For decoration, I have prepared these leaves. They create a cozy autumn atmosphere. We have already made these for the fairy tale cake, so I will not repeat the recipe. I will leave the description and a link below the video. We take the frozen base out so that we can cut it into portions. With a light motion, I warm the sides of the frame. Quickly running a blowtorch along the edges, a heat gun can be used. The sides release immediately and the frame is easy to remove. The base is deeply frozen, so I place it in the refrigerator for a while, allowing it to defrost slightly so that it is not rock hard, yet not fully thawed. Then I mark the surface and cut neat individual pastries. All that is left is to decorate the surface with whipped ganache and cranberry gel. I am using a plain round tip. I pipe domes that are not identical but of different sizes. It looks more lively that way. Next, I make cavities for the gel using a hot, dry spoon. Each time I dip the spoon in hot water and wipe it dry. I fill the cavities with gel. I try to do this without symmetry, chaotically, yet so that every serving contains a drop of gel when tasted. These bright drops resemble berries and beautifully echo the berry layer in the cut. And the final touch is an elegant leaf. It beautifully completes the composition and creates atmosphere. The pastries are ready. Here, warm, cozy hazelnut and cinnamon meet bright, refreshing notes of cranberry and citrus. A contrast of gentle warmth and vibrant freshness. A very intriguing, vivid and atmospheric flavor and visual. Friends, that is all from me. Get inspired and discover something new. I thank every one of you for your attention. See you in the upcoming videos. Bye-bye.